You surely care about sustainability, but are you sure you understand it?
In 1987, the United Nations Brundtland Commission defined sustainability as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. One thing I really like about this definition is that the Commission used the word needs, not luxuries, and definitely not greed. While many people think that sustainability is only about protecting the environment, it is actually a much more holistic concept. It is surely about how we treat our planet, but it's also about our economies, how we treat each other, and ultimately how we treat ourselves. This holistic approach is captured in what we call the three pillars of sustainability: environmental, social, and economic. Let's start with the environmental pillar because usually that's the first thing people associate with sustainability. This pillar focuses on the preservation and health of Gaia's ecosystems and resources. Therefore, some of the key aspects to sustain it include climate action and climate policy, soil preservation, waste management, and water protection. When we use resources, we need to replenish them, respecting the rate at which the earth can replace them. For example, when we cut trees, we need to plant new trees and give them enough time to grow before we cut them. Or when we catch fish, we need to do so at a rate that gives them enough time to reproduce. Because if we use our resources too quickly, we might run out of them. The environmental pillar also acknowledges that the health of the planet is deeply connected with our own health. For example, to the quality of the air that we breathe or of the water that we drink. But sustainability isn't just about nature. It's also about our relationships to others and to ourselves. Which brings us to the social pillar. This pillar focuses on the well-being of people and communities. It is about prioritizing inclusion, equity, human rights, social justice, and community development. In a socially sustainable society, everyone has fair access to essential resources and opportunities. This includes quality education, work possibilities, safety, food, water, and healthcare. Therefore, more people can participate in the economy, unlock economic potential, which brings us to the economic pillar of sustainability. This pillar focuses on managing financial and material resources to ensure long-term economic stability and resilience. In other words, in an economically sustainable society, everyone earns enough money to meet their own needs and support their businesses without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Some key aspects here are, for example, resource conservation, so that business don't run out of resources in the long term. Circular economy, which involves creating products that can be repaired, reused, and recycled, which helps to reduce waste and preserve resources. Investing in sustainable infrastructure and creating new jobs in sectors like renewable energy and regenerative agriculture. Now, you might have intuitively thought that the three pillars influence one another. And if you have, that's true, because the three pillars are interconnected. For a system to be fully sustainable, the three pillars need to work together. If one of them is out of balance, it will contribute to destabilize the other pillars as well. A little bit like in a domino effect. And the system will not be sustainable anymore. As you can see, sustainability is a highly complex topic. And even though we speak about it so often, we still have so much to learn about it. What is really important to understand sustainability is to look at the supply chain of a product as a whole. So we need to ask ourselves, which resources are needed to create this product? How are these resources extracted? How much of these resources do we have? Do we have enough of them? Can we replenish them? What are the working conditions of the people involved in its production? And then it's also really important to ask what happens to the product once it's reaching its end of life. Can it be repaired? Can it be reused? Can it be recycled? Can it be upcycled? We humans have this thing in which we lose track so easily of the consequences of our actions, which gives us the impression that we're not creating an impact with our lives. But we are. And it's so important for our personal growth and our collective growth that we take responsibility for the impact that we generate. There is this African proverb that I find really wise and that really touches me. It says, "We do not inherit the land from our ancestors. We borrow it from our grandchildren." So the question is, what kind of ancestor do you want to be?